Hey guys, this is Richard with Salt Strong, and today I want to go over my favorite lures for low tide situations. So during low tide, you first have to ask yourself, where are these fish going to be located? And we recently just did a video on where to locate fish at high tide. So if you saw that, we really focused on, shallow areas that were covered by, water typically in the 1 to 2 foot range. However, now that we're fishing at low tide, we tend to want to do the opposite and we find those deeper holes. Those deeper holes are really going to be a staging area for many fish as they kind of wait for that tide to come back in. And if you find these holes, the probability of catching a lot of fish in a really small area is very likely. So the first thing I want to mention is what bait is around during low tide. So typically what you will see is going to be your smaller minnows along with your shrimp. And unlike high tide, a lot of the crabs are actually out of reach and on that dry land during this part of the tide. So starting out, I really do like using a small paddle tail. And when I'm trying to imitate a bait fish, I want to keep it mid-water column or higher. Because if you ever see minnows at low tide, they're generally swimming closer to the surface, because down below is where all those predator fish like your trout, redfish, and flounder are. So by having a paddle tail that's a little bit higher up in the water column, it's a more natural look to the fish. As you can see, this is only on about a 1/16 ounce owner twist lock hook. It's what we really like, also weedless. But a slow, steady retrieve usually works great. And this is also one of my favorite lures for flounder at low tide. The lighter jig allows me to throw it very shallow and run it across areas where flounder are located, usually in shallow water. I've even been able to catch flounder in less than a foot of water with this exact setup. So definitely one of my favorites for low tide. Okay guys, so the next lures I'm going to go over are all going to be shrimp profiles. Shrimp are probably my favorite lures to throw during a low tide period because a lot of times they're in the bottom, they're hiding from predators, and you can really work these guys pretty slow and natural, but still be on the bottom and get bites from those fish. So the first one I want to go over is going to be the Z-Man 4-inch jerk shad. I also like the 5-inch, but it's in that slam shady color, which is a very, very natural color, especially when it's getting close to the bottom. So as you can see, all these have some heavier weights on them, so we can get down deep in those holes that are sometimes 4, 5, 6 feet or more at these low tide situations, because that's where those fish are holding. So this is a phenomenal lure. It's kind of like a shrimp. You can work it that way, or even a small bait fish, but really make sure you've got something heavy enough that's going to get you down to the bottom. This is not a weedless setup. I have it on a jig head because I really like having it just like this on the bottom, and that jig head really flips this tail and it kind of just moves around on the bottom, and you can move this bait very, very slow and not spook a lot of fish with it. So I really like that. Another good, just tried and true lure is going to be the Voodoo Shrimp. And similarly to the jerk shad, the only difference really is the way this weight is designed. I don't like it just because you can't, throw your own weight on there. You really have to kind of just use the hooks that it comes with. However, for most situations, it's okay. And like I said, the way that this jig head is designed, it's also going to kick that tail up a little bit on the bottom. And those are great, especially when there's some grass shrimp or a smaller profile style shrimp in the area. These work great. So lately, I have really been enjoying this setup. It's probably been one of my favorites because in order to get these lures in areas that have a lot of oysters and trees and just rocks and nasty stuff, sometimes you do have to go with a weedless presentation. This is the Powerprong Jr. This has been a phenomenal lure for me lately. And one of the things that I like to do is I will have a ton of confidence. I can throw this right on top of an oyster bed or rocks or a round structure, and just being able to hook this weedless and have that little bit of a skin hook right here, I don't have to worry about getting hung up. And the other thing is too, this is a 1/4 ounce owner twist lock hook, and as you can see, I did remove the actual twist lock pin and I just put it here. I like doing that because it pushes that head down a little bit more, and I feel like when a fish bites it, there's a little bit more of a gap for them to get to, because when you do run weedless, you run into some issues sometimes of hook sets. I feel like I get a few more bites with this and miss less strikes. But having, again, this heavier weight, I can bump this on top of oysters and you can almost hear it, and it's like a dinner bell to these fish. So this has been a phenomenal lure lately for me, and I really enjoy it, and it's been just a great all-around low tide bait. Alright guys, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. These are my favorite lures and ways to rig them for low tide situations. So I hope this helps. If there's anything else that you would like to add, or if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Also, we do sell some of these lures mentioned here in this video on our shop page at fishstrong.com, so be sure to go there and check them out. And if you're new to Salt Strong, just know that we're the best online fishing club in America because we literally guarantee that you will catch more fish while saving time and money. We do this by providing you with our premium education, an exclusive online fishing community, and huge discounts on the best tackle for saltwater anglers. To learn more, go to saltstrong.com. We hope to see you in the Insider Club family soon.